Good day to you, my friend, and welcome to the Goddess Breath on YouTube. I'm Dr. Mari, and we're in the middle of the Breathwork and Embodied Consciousness series. If you've been following along, you know that we've been spending plenty of time going inward. We met the shadow, we answered the call, we discovered archetypes. We've learned to see with new eyes. Now, how do we live all of this? How do humans become conscious participants in evolution instead of observers? That's at the gist of what I'm sharing today. So thank you for being here and listening in. And we will do some breathing here at the end. But I just wanted to share with you that this is a good question to consider, to let it roll around in your mind. And I think we have an answer. It's what I've come to, that not through beliefs or ideas, but we become conscious participants through embodied living. Embodying consciousness isn't another spiritual practice. It's allowing the consciousness to become visible, to see through new eyes. It's what we talked about, I shared with you in the last episode. So if you consider the fact that we spend much of our spiritual lives, be a very spiritual person, seeking the divine and communicating with the divine and connecting with the divine, as if the divine is outside of us. Yet perhaps the invitation is the opposite. It's always been the opposite, to embody divine energy. Okay, remember where episode 6 ended and the butterfly emerges. She sits on the chrysalis. She hasn't flown yet. She waits. Then she opens her wings. Something remarkable happens. She is pausing, breathing, allowing her wings to unfold. Kind of going, oh, what is this? Then wings outstretched, beautiful in her divine nature, fully ready to take flight. She lifts up. She feels this new experience of her body flying after all that she went through. I think many of us believe awakening works the same way, that we imagine that once we've healed our wounds, we meet our shadow and we understand our archetypes, we think our work is finished. I don't want to do that again. I'm done. I grieved. But perhaps that is only the beginning. And because the real question isn't how do I awaken? The real question is, how do I live now in this new state of present awareness and consciousness, a new perspective, this new view of all the culmination of all of the work that I've done? How do I allow consciousness to become visible through the way I live? That's embodiment. It's not another philosophy. It's what happens when awareness becomes a lived experience. It's expressed through the way we breathe, the way we move, the way we love, the way we create, the way we serve. So I'm shifting here now to thinking about the ancient goddess Inanna and using her archetype in her story. So this is where Inanna becomes an extraordinary guide. Her journey doesn't end when she leaves the underworld. She doesn't disappear into heaven. She returns. She becomes queen of heaven and earth. Not one, but both. She embodies the bridge between the human and the divine. That's us. That's you. We are that vessel between earth and heaven, between the spirit and the body, and wisdom and action is where embodied consciousness becomes fully alive and visible. And that's perhaps what every great myth has been trying to teach us. The goal isn't to escape life. The goal is to return to life carrying and returning with something beautiful, to become living expressions of what we have remembered. That's the beginning of embodied consciousness. When consciousness begins expressing itself in everyday life, it naturally flowers. I'll say that again. When consciousness begins expressing itself in everyday life, it naturally flowers. I think of breathing in the flower, blowing out the candle. Breathing in the flower, blowing out the candle. Because we think that when consciousness is embodied, that there should be some practice involved. And that's what I want to move into, is another aspect of a metaphor that's going to put all these pieces together, kind of like the rose petal. And that's where I want to go to, is this metaphor of the rose petal, because the unfoldment of the flower petals takes also its long journey of growing to be the stem, growing, right? Leaves, then a little bud forms. That bud takes a long time to actually open to the scent that is the nectar. It's the delicate and divine scent that the rose carries and wants to share with others. So I'm utilizing this rose and the petals in a way that we can look at these aspects that I'm going to share. But I want to just mention that Inanna is represented as the rose. It's known that the rose symbol has always been connected to her. And the butterfly lands on the rose petals, unaware that it is giving, it's sharing, it's giving something to pollinate and reproduce. So I think of the petals of the goddess as a way of saying what an embodied life can actually look like. And, like I said, we think of practices, it's not all of it. Breathwork practice is a good thing, right? Breathing in the flower, blowing out the candle. Do this with me. Breathing in the flower, blowing out the candle. So let's look at this in a way of, we can think of the image. I don't have this image printed for you right now. At some point I will, and as I'm writing my book. But we can think of a rose petal as breath. Breath is a practice. Breath should be now conscious and intentional. It's not something we just automatically do. Of course, in our sleep and throughout the day, but we bring it in more as a practice to help us feel more at ease, relaxed, to regulate our nervous system, to move through different challenges in life, and also to feel more awakened, to be more clear, more vigilant, and more focused, and also to expand our consciousness. So we have also then meditation. It's very similar to breathwork, and a breathwork guided meditation is a very beautiful thing to practice. We have somatics, so we think of body body work aspects in the way of feeling into our body, connecting. What are the sensations happening in our body? What are my thoughts and feelings connecting to my body? If you think of movement, movement is never static, and embodiment is never static. Movement is something that helps us transform. We can think of ceremony or ritual as part of the aspect of our everyday life. And that just bringing that in, it could be a practice, a ritual for you to just take time, be quiet in morning stillness, sip your coffee. It could be very simple. Your ritual is your ritual. Maybe you don't even realize how often you are doing them. And are they serving you? That is the question to ask. Relationships are so important. How do we mirror with others, right? This is also a petal. And then nature is so amazing as a mirror as well. And that we feel completely open in nature, and that nature helps us let go what we don't need. Nature helps us identify fully with that death rebirth cycle. It's all there in nature. And we also have creativity. Creativity is what we bring into this world, what we see through those eyes. Creativity changes as our life development changes. And maybe we still stay with the same particular artistic trait, whether it be music or art form and drawing or writing. It doesn't matter. It could be adding more to that, or it could be really fully coming to that pristine, open moment of your particular creativity that just lands on you. Is why you're doing it, why you want to be creative, because you feel that full expression within and sharing it outwardly. Community, it can be a petal. Community is important, or sangha in the Buddhism, right? The people that we choose as family is also a really important aspect of our growth and development and our fullness in our embodiment, being conscious and having others reflect and sharing what we really feel vulnerable sharing in community. We do that. And a sacred community where we feel safe. It's very important. And then in the middle of that, here's where I'm going. What is in the center of all of that? It's not the ego. It's not the personality. There's personality types, right? We live out of our personality type sometimes. I've studied the Enneagram. I'm very familiar with that. It's not the wound itself that's in the center, and it's not the aspect of anything but presence, or that fully expanded aspect that has your full potential all encompassed in that center as you. It's the wholeness, the circle in the center, the spiral that continues to grow and to unwind into more of its full aspect, thinking of the spiral upward, moving into the heavens, right? That connection with the cosmos, the connection with others. And that's where we're going to in this next episode. But first, I want you to breathe with me a little more, because I realize I haven't given enough breath practice. And what I wanted to move into with this in today's episode is the 4-7-8 breath practice, because we're breathing in the flower, blowing out the candle. And the only difference we're doing in the 4-7-8 is we're bringing in a hold. So that's that pause that the butterfly takes. just at the edge there, waiting to fly off from its chrysalis. And we're going to do that. Just a quick 4-7-8 breath. We'll do 4 rounds. So breathe in with me through double nostril. 2, 3, 4. Count of 4. Hold for 7. 7. Breathe out through for 8. 3, 4, 7, 8. Breathe in through the nose. 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out for 8. 7, 8. Breathe in through 4. Hold for 7. Breathe out through 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 more. Breathe in for 4. Your own rhythm. Hold for 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And blow out through 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And relax. Notice how you feel. Look through the lens, and hopefully you have a new perspective, one that's more sparkly, more invigorated, more relaxed at the same time. Both. It can be both, invigorated and relaxed at the same time. Inspired by creativity, but feeling in the flow. So being in the the embodiment of consciousness, embodying your divine nature, becoming fully human, is like living your life so astutely aware of all your actions, and that you bring compassion as an action. It's just natural to be compassionate. It's natural to feel you're in a relationship and you're tapping into your inner wisdom and trusting in that. Natural to have service that you want to share with others, being in service, and that you are fully present in that. And that beautiful gift of creativity is the beauty and part of what makes you feel more alive. The scent of the flower helps us feel more alive, right? So it's not escaping the human experience, not transcending it, not perfecting it, but allowing the divine to become visible through the way you breathe, the way you move, the way you love, the way you create, the way you serve others, the way you walk in nature, the way you can just be present in your everyday, even if it's a mundane ritual or a very extravagant ritual or ceremony, celebrating a ritual, a ceremony. And that's what we want. That's why we live, right? And just showing up for one another, I think, is just a beautiful part of being in our human bodies, being alive, being conscious, experiencing divinity within, is being really available for others and coming coming from a place of unconditional love. That's the goddess. So in this next episode, I'll talk about how being in service is so meaningful, and holding space for others and being so present can bring more of feeling alive than we ever imagined. And maybe you've experienced this, you know this already. You've already been there. You've done that. You know what I mean. Deep gratitude, right? It's like walking in gratitude. And that is the connection to the sky, heaven, as we walk our everyday on earth, embodied, conscious, full, and great. Okay, well, if you are interested in any of the breathwork classes that I do, I have a one-day holotropic breathwork coming up in a couple of weeks. You can find that on thegoddessbreath.com. It'll be in the show notes. And I am teaching a class in November called The Power of Myth and Archetype. That link is there available to you as well. If you would like a free guided breathwork meditation, go to my website, thegoddessbreath.com, put your email in, and I will send you a free guided breathwork meditation. More to come, my friend. More to come. Blessings to you and be well.